Welcome to Benjamin's Dream and the Dreamers Podcast. Hey everyone, this is podcast number 17 of Benjamin's Dream and the Dreamers. And this week in our fantasy league, it is our first week of the playoffs. We do a double matchup, or play each other twice, then you go to the final round. So there's 4 teams in our playoff system right now. So we'll call hopefully each one of them up this week. I don't think probably won't get to talk to them all, and then we'll discuss some of our favorite teams along with that. So let's give Giles a call.
Hello?
Hey man, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, not too much. So, you ended up being the second seed or the third seed?
Number 1.
Oh, excuse me, my fault, excuse me. But you play Travis this week. Do you like your matchups?
I think this would be a very good 2 weeks that we play each other. Our teams are very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
We both got good matchups this week, regardless of who we're playing, whatever teams who we're playing.
Correct, yeah.
I think, I like his flex. I think that was a great pickup he got when he picked up Gus Edwards.
Mm-hmm. But even though this, I didn't mean to interrupt you, I apologize. Even though your flex has been on your team for like 5 weeks now, Nick Chubb is, I think, a huge pickup for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's been averaging like 15 plus points.
I was going to say is a further, if I was him, I would go after San Francisco's running back. I believe Jeff Wilson.
Actually, one of our non-playoff teams picked him up.
Okay, because I think he's going to take some majority of those snaps here. Well, I know he's going to be playing all day. I know he's going to be playing this Sunday, but he's been playing well for the past couple weeks.
No, I got you. I don't know how well has Carolina's been kind of like going downhill, unfortunately, the last few games. Have they won a game since they lost to the Steelers? I know that's not why they keep losing, but I'm pretty sure that's...
I don't know if they have or not. I think they've actually have been on like a 2-3 games since
it's been a while. It might be even 4 or 5, to be honest with you, but I really don't know, unfortunately. I like your defense versus I think I like your defense versus Indianapolis.
Yeah, because we don't know what Indianapolis would have with them last week. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky game right there.
I think it's probably fair based off his play, but I think there's a little too much hype based off Luck coming back and playing how he should, if that makes sense. Because I don't think his team's that good. Even if he plays out of his mind, his team shouldn't really have necessarily a winning record. They could maximize, like the best they could be, I feel like, if he started out playing how he is now at the beginning of the season, is like 8-8, because the defense is not really remotely where it needs to be, and the offensive line is not very good. I know they're improving on both sides of that ball there, but they're still not, they're probably below average, to be honest with you.
And Houston's been playing the best football ever since week 4.
Mm-hmm.
They've been on that 9-game win streak.
Right, yeah. I don't see them losing this week to Indianapolis, but I could be wrong. I like Phillip Rivers versus Cincinnati. I tried to pick up, I picked up Cincinnati. No, I picked up Case Keenum, and I thought he would do. He only got me 10 points, but I wasn't going to do anything really. But Cincinnati's defenses unfortunately went downhill after going 6-1, even though the whole team.
And that team's Cincinnati's team's in a shamble anyway. They're just losing players left and right.
Marvin Lewis, coach next year for the head coach for the Cincinnati Bengals next year.
Well, they've kept him around for this long. I mean, might as well keep him there again next year.
I feel like based off what you said, off all the injuries, they're just gonna be like, well, all these players were injured. You can't really blame him. But
I believe they were 4, maybe 5-1, and then they just started falling apart. Everyone getting hurt.
I think they were like 5-1. They could have been 6-1, to be dead honest with you. I'm trying to think what our record was, because it wasn't perfect either. It was like 3-4-1. Maybe, I don't know. That's probably that's way too many. But we beat them, and then they've kind of went down. Because the next week they played the Chiefs, or no, I don't know who they played the next week. It might have been the Chiefs. I'm not positive on that. And then the Chiefs blew them out. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even a shootout.
I think once they played that Saints game, I think that's where it really took the turn for the worse for them.
Did Dalton get injured in that game, or was it the next game or something?
I think it was the next game, yeah.
I think he got injured versus the Browns, actually.
I know he played, but then I don't even think they even played the fourth quarter, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay, so this week, I don't know which day it was. It probably was it Tuesday or was it Wednesday when the Packers fired Mike McCarthy, or was it Monday even?
It was that night.
Excuse me, it was Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh my, wow, that's probably 4 days ago. I think, based off, I've seen your Facebook. I think you think it's a good decision, but do you find it weird that they fired him in the middle of the season, based off what he has done for them in the past?
I would have expected them to wait, but to the end of the year. But
Mm-hmm.
you lose to the Cardinals. There's no explanation for that.
Right. So was the game televised, or around here at least?
Not around here. I did listen to it on the radio because I do have one of them football apps. So I did listen to it on the radio.
Was there a bunch of incomplete passes in terms of drops? Was there turnovers, like fumble? Like, what was the situation?
I mean, it wasn't turnovers. It's just Arizona just flat out played them. There's just no excuse. I mean, Fitzgerald was catching them. I mean, I don't know who that running back was, but he was just running all over them.
Yeah.
I mean, they just flat out outplayed them. I mean, Green Bay just could not get anything started.
Now, the year you guys won the Super Bowl, I can't really remember because I feel like Mike McCarthy called the plays, but I could be wrong. Was that the year Joe Philbin was still your offensive coordinator, or was he not offensive coordinator until a few more years after that? Or
he wasn't even there.
he wasn't even on the coaching staff.
No, he was. Oh, he was. I know he was with Miami.
He was Miami, but that was after the Super Bowl because I remember it was like a few years ago and it was like a big deal.
I think McCarthy's been called most of the plays.
Okay, well, my point being, I just didn't know how much success you had when Joe Philbin was there in terms of like offensive production.
I mean, we'll see what he does. I mean, a lot of people don't think he's gonna get the job, but
when he was here, did Aaron get along with him or supposedly have a good relationship with him, or was it never really said?
Never was really ever said, and I don't. And you can't. I don't think he wanted McCarthy gone. I think a lot of people are putting the rumors that he was the one who got him fired, but
I don't.
The truth is to it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't necessarily think. I don't think anyone really goes and been like. I think this year the Packers are just maybe not that good, and maybe the talent around Aaron Rodgers isn't that good. Maybe this year, who knows? I don't. I mean, I guess but you know what I mean. But let's say you switch the quarterback. Let's say you put Tom Brady on the Packers right now. Everything was exactly the same. I don't think it would be much different probably, but maybe it would. You know what I mean? Or if you put Patrick Mahomes on the Packers right now, same. Well, that's a bad example based off he's a little younger, but you know what I'm trying to say there. I feel like the Packers would. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it this way. You got Randall Cobb, who's been hurt the majority of the season.
Mm-hmm.
You got two rookie receivers who are yet to develop. They're getting there. Devontae Adams is your only go-to guy, and you've never really utilized Jimmy Graham the way that he should have been doing. And
you guys didn't really have a running back for. I mean, you did. I think Williams was decent in my opinion. I don't know how well he actually played for you guys, and then Jones came back and I think did well. But then the whole Ty Montgomery thing. I mean, he was talented enough to maybe do okay for you guys. But point being, like, you also have Jimmy Graham, and you haven't really used him a lot. So maybe it's just not clicking at times. I don't know.
And you don't know what this left knee injury is, how severe that even is to Rodgers.
Right, yeah. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Do they have any primetime games coming up?
From the schedule I've seen, I mean, if they do have primetime, with the NFL and how they shuffle games around.
No, I got you. That makes sense.
I mean, I don't think they probably will for the rest of the year.
How do you like, we'll go to college football now for a second or whatever, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like our matchup with Syracuse?
It's going to be a quarterback battle if they both play. Well, Greer plays.
I hope he does. I think he is. I think it would have been announced by now, in my opinion, but maybe not. You know what I mean? Like, he would have said, like, I'm not playing or I am playing, but I don't know how long they wait usually on that.
I mean, do we deserve this bowl? I would like to see them in the Alamo Bowl, but it is what it is.
Right, yeah. I don't know how good Syracuse's defense is this year. Last year they were pretty good. I think they beat Clemson, actually, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, they did. I think they were in They beat them at Syracuse.
Right, yeah. And I thought again they were like repeating as pretty decent, but I'm pretty sure this year Clemson, they blew out Clemson and Notre Dame beat them pretty handily. But
With the Notre Dame game, you have to realize they didn't have that. They didn't have Eric Dungy. He had got hurt early in that game.
Okay.
Maybe had he been in there, it might have been a different story. But who knows?
Mm-hmm. Do you think we'll go around? Do you think Notre Dame has any chance versus Clemson, or the other way around? Well, not the other way around. I'm making Notre Dame the underdog.
It would come down to Clemson's defensive line against Ian Book.
Mm-hmm.
If they can force Book out of the pocket, just mess with him all day, mess with his head all day, I think Clemson will easily win.
No, I got you. I think it should be pretty easy. I think if for some reason, I don't know how good Clemson's offense is, I'm assuming it's decent. If Notre Dame could somehow get more turnovers and hold the ball in terms of like time of possession, I think they'd have a chance to, win the game. I don't know if it would necessarily, make them win, but I think they'd have a better chance. Who do you think's going to win Heisman?
My guess would be probably either Tua or Haskins. I'm going to say Tua, but I think Kyler Murray should take it.
I think it's either going to be Tua or Murray because like the stat they told about when I watched the game on TV versus Oklahoma, he became the only player to average 300 yards and 60 yards rushing ever. I mean I was like that's crazy. And then I think he should win, but I don't really know how the voting works in terms of how early you can vote because I was watching PTI today and I think you can vote like early or you can vote like late. So it's like, you know what I mean? Which I find strange.
And what the thing with Tua is, you have to look how many games did he actually fully play this year.
They said I just saw a stat recently. I think it was on ESPN. It was like 13 games. He only put no. It was something weird. It was like in 13 games he only played like less. It wasn't very many snaps in the fourth quarter. It was like extremely small amount.
Or even played the fourth quarter because it just to me it comes down, and I think they should just do this after the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
The highs because you still have one more game to play, and who knows what will happen with these three quarterbacks? They may have the worst games of their lives.
Right. Yeah. But I don't think, based off the numbers they put up throughout the season, if they did do it after the bowl game and it gave the favor to someone, that's totally fair. But like, let's say obviously they do it now, and then they play the game on the 29th, and one of them that wins, like shit the bed. I don't really feel like that defines the season he put up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think it's a little bit different than like the NFL MVP, but it's very similar to the same thing. But I also like that they're giving out the Heisman before the Alabama-Oklahoma matchup because I think it'll motivate the other quarterback to maybe play a little better. You know what I mean?
Well, regardless, Kyler Murray, if they think Kyler Murray's going to play football in the NFL level, they're sadly mistaken. He's going to baseball.
Mm-hmm. But you understood what I meant. Like I just meant okay.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
But around the same time next week.
Yep. Same time.
Thanks as always, man.
No problem.
Bye. Now we'll call Chase and see what he's up to.
Hey.
Hey, man. What's up?
Not much.
All right. Were you able to watch all the Steeler games Sunday night?
Yeah. Yeah, I was, fortunately.
Yeah. So, do you feel like the best case scenario for us now, the rest of the season, going 2-2? That would mean that we beat Oakland, lose to New England, lose to New Orleans, and beat the Bengals.
I mean, best case, 3-1, I think, was probably the best case. I think 2-2 is hopefully worst case, but we just got to win the division now. I mean, that's all you got to look for.
Right, yeah. I think it kind of helps us out because I hope we come out kind of, fiery, like we're kind of like the underdog somehow in Sunday's game because the Ravens play the Chiefs. So I hope the Chiefs destroy them in terms of helping us out, obviously. I think it'll be I hope it's a close game versus the Patriots. I think it probably should be. I don't know how good they are necessarily at this point in time, but I don't necessarily know if Connor will be back, which I think could really help us. And then New Orleans, like the Saints game, I'm not really sure at this point if it would even be. I think it could be close based off, how I've seen most of the Steelers play in the past, but based off the way the team's playing right now, I don't know if the New Orleans game will be super close. And then I think we should, have the advantage versus Cincinnati, but we'll just wait and see.
Yeah. Oakland and Cincy should be guaranteed wins, but that doesn't
Right,
mean
yeah.
it will be.
I saw a
And I
stat.
think they'll play the Pats tough, but I don't know what to expect from.
I'm pretty sure I read this right. I think it was only on Twitter, unfortunately. But that's not a big deal. I'm always on Twitter. I think Ben's never won in Oakland,
Yeah, I did hear that on the radio this week.
which
yeah.
I found I feel like it's just coincident, But I mean, I don't know. I feel like it doesn't determine anything, but I feel like it probably is maybe a factor at times. I don't know, but I feel like those are just based off the past Oakland teams in the past. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I mean they're terrible though. We should be able to win.
Mm-hmm. Do you think? Do you feel okay with Stephen Ridley and Sanders? Wait, what's his last name? No, Sanders is his last name.
The rookie, what's his last name? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's Samuel. Is it Emmanuel? No,
Samuels. Yeah.
it's just Samuels.
When he came in last week, he played pretty well. So I mean, based on what very little I saw.
I find it crazy.
okay.
He's the all-time leader in receiving touchdowns for North Carolina State.
Yeah, wow.
He played running back and tight end. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, he did pretty good catching the ball for us in that last drive at least.
Right, yeah. I
And
think
I don't know if they give up on the run game so quickly. It's the last few weeks though. It's just crazy. I don't know.
Oh, this is not really breaking news, but ESPN is reporting that the Chiefs just signed Calvin Benjamin.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm. Supposedly, Josh Allen. Okay, this was a report. I don't know who this was reported by. It doesn't really. Well, I guess it kind of matters. But supposedly, Josh Allen asked Calvin Benjamin if he could work on routes like before the game, and he said no. Do you? I think hopefully. Well, I guess he has to be pretty much. James Washington is going to be active versus Oakland. I think hopefully hopefully he can get it together because I think he's talented enough. The wide receiver from Oklahoma State for us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting too much from him, but hopefully he can.
Well, they put Hunter on IR, and then because he broke his finger or something.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, I'm not worried about the receiver position. I mean, with Vance and our other tight end, and you got two good receivers,
Right. Yeah.
and Switzer's been pretty good at receiving too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
he's
he's
almost
been-
like their third receiver.
Right. Yeah. I think Vance needs to have maybe a bigger game. I feel like he hasn't had a huge game for a while, which is probably reasonable. But I feel like he has enough talent. He should have big games almost every week, if that makes sense.
I think he was targeted too much, at least last week that I remember. But
Well, he might have been banged up again because he was banged up versus the Broncos. Because I remember it was reported it's like, oh, Vance McDonald's out or something, but then immediately they showed him on TV within seconds of that statement. So I don't know how hurt he was or how whatever. Do you like West Virginia's matchup versus Syracuse?
I would have much rather played Washington State. But he kind of got screwed over on that, but that would have been a much better matchup too, like nationwide, Leach versus.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
I mean, but it's an old Big East rival, I guess. It'd be nice to beat them. I mean, they were decent this year too, but I don't know who all's going to play for us, so it might not even matter.
Has anyone said they weren't going to play yet?
I know Sill said that he was going to play, but other than that, I haven't heard anything.
I guess. I feel like if they weren't going to play, they would have announced it by now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that usually comes out, at the end of the season or well before the bowl game, but maybe they'll wait. I don't know.
Yeah, it's 3 weeks from tomorrow is when it is, so
Right.
there's a little bit of time. And I don't know, Spavital might be coaching too in it. I don't know. They haven't
Yeah, he
decided
said he
yet
wanted to
either.
be the OC before going to Texas State. Or North Texas or Texas State?
Just Texas State.
Okay. Oh, real quick, who do you think's going to win Heisman?
I think it'll be Kyler now, especially with Tua going out in the championship and Hurts coming back and winning it for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of hurt his. I mean, but I think it'll be Kyler, but I think it'll be close.
Yeah, it probably should be close. I thought it was easily Tua's the whole year, and then I wasn't really paying attention. And then when we played Oklahoma at home, they announced the stat that Kyler Murray. I don't know how many passing yards he needed, but he was going to become. He needed 60 yards rushing, but he was going to be the only player in FBS history to average over 300 yards passing and 60 yards rushing. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my, he should win Heisman easily. I'm like, how is he not, favored at the moment? But I think the hype is kind of made up for him after he played very well versus us, and then he played even, very well versus Texas. So I think he might have. Oh, I have a question for you. Do you know much about the voting in terms of like, can you just put one in weeks ago and then like right before, or how does the voting work?
The ballots went out, I forget how many weeks ago, but they had to be in by, I believe, Sunday. They had to be in by.
But you
So
can put.
I mean, you could vote before that, but that's the latest day they had to be in because that's when they announced the finalists. Or Monday they announced the finalists, but I think it had to be in by Sunday.
Why would I mean, I guess I obviously know why people would vote early if you want to be biased or vote for your guy. But like, I don't like. I feel. I mean.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it would be like that. I don't know why you wouldn't wait to vote till the last minute. I don't know.
But I guess you would maybe like. I wonder how many coaches in the coaching poll vote for themselves. But you know what I'm saying? Like maybe you just vote for your guy because he's not going to get the hype, and it's not like kind of like the one vote doesn't matter type thing. But I think Kyler Murray should win it, but we'll just wait and see till Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not that excited about it. So.
No, I got you. Oh, I have one last question. How do you think I think it's supposed to come out tomorrow, but it might come out. It's only supposed to come out tomorrow, if that. The Avengers 4 trailer, what do you think that'll be like, or what?
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. We don't even know what it's called yet, so it should be pretty exciting, hopefully.
Now, in terms of like storyline or like comic book accuracy, have they just completely went off the map, or is it still pretty accurate at the moment?
I mean, that story was very loosely, from what I know, it was following it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're going to go from this point.
I don't know. It seemed like, based how long it took to like get Thanos introduced, which is fair completely because they made it great. It's like all of a sudden he's dead. like in the Avengers 4, they just kill him and it's like over. It's like what they do from there. But I don't know how.
Back. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to work.
Yeah. Thanks for calling.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What's up?
Oh, not too much. How are you?
Good.
How do you like your team this week in terms of? I guess based off our records, both of our teams have unfortunately been inconsistent. But I mean, we could play.
Yeah, inconsistency is a key word. Probably, I got a few guys that are kind of questionable, Hilton and Gronk.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been hit or miss all year. See if they're playing. We'll see how hurt they are. If they're really hurt, they won't do much. If they're not as bad as what people think, then they might put up some big numbers. But I'm just going to roll with what I got.
Right, yeah. I mean, I think the Gronk situation, right now he's not listed as injured or anything, but they play Miami, so the Patriots have never, they probably lost to Miami in the last 10 years, but point being, they probably, they're just like the little brother. They're not going to, they could rest him is what my point being is. But, I don't know.
I'll have to stay alert as to what's going on with a few of those guys up to kickoff on Sunday.
Right, yeah. I think, I don't like me starting AP because he's obviously an older running back. Like, two of their starting offensive linemen are hurt. But I I guess I could put Tyler Boyd against the Chargers maybe, or I don't really want to do Dalvin Cook. I'll figure something out. But, my team has just been the most consistent player has been Joe Mixon, but he was hurt for like 4 weeks.
This is the first bad year I think either one of us have had.
In a while. I don't think I've ever... I'm pretty sure I've always, every time I played, I've at least made the playoffs. But Odell Beckham was inconsistent, but that's not really his fault. That's more of his quarterback. DeAndre Hopkins would always play very good, but I always needed a touchdown from him in the first few weeks. He didn't necessarily do that. And then it didn't happen every week, but there always seemed to be one player I'd leave off the starting lineup that would do 15 plus points. And I'm like, just man.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people. It seems like you get kick yourself for leaving a guy out.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, it just seems like that one week they're really good, and it's the week you decide to leave them out.
Right, yeah. I think I know this is not about either of our teams, but I think it was big that Drew, I'm pretty sure he had to draft Tyreek Hill, but he drafted both Tyreek Hill and Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes. I know he didn't know he was going to be that good, but the fact that he
Right.
had them before, that no one had the chance to pick him off of waivers is crazy.
Yeah.
Did you watch all of the Steelers game Sunday night?
Yeah. I watched most of it, if not all of it.
I watched all of it. I don't know what. So the first half, I think then the first half, was it 24-3 or was it 23-3?
21-3 or something.
It was something like that.
20,
So
23-7 or 23
Right,
to
yeah.
3.
I knew we don't really, unfortunately, like, let's go back to like our first win, maybe versus Tampa Bay. I think that was our first win. Like the second half, we scored 0 points. So I knew we kept doing like our second. We don't put together two halves of football, if that makes sense. This year we haven't. So I knew there was a chance, and I knew the Chargers are actually pretty good this year. I know it's not the playoffs, so like they are still going to be very successful. But it was like I hate when people. I don't hate when people do this, but I don't think it's fair when people are like, we lost because of officiating. Because I think a majority of the times, if you're good enough, that shouldn't be a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But 14 points or 12 points, I guess you don't want to count the extra points. 2 touchdowns were based off huge penalties that could have helped us take those off the board. The false start and then the
Right.
block in the back.
Yeah, that false start call, that was absolutely atrocious.
I don't know how you don't see that live time, because it, like, when you slowed it down, it was worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, even they admitted to it during the game that they screwed it up, but I mean that's a big play, especially when it ends up in points. That was essentially the difference in the game.
Right, yeah.
I
And
don't
then
know.
on the punt return is when the block in the back happened. I think it was pretty noticeable, but I don't remember watching it full time.
Yeah. I don't know what they're going to do. They got it together. It seemed like mid-season, and at one point you're thinking, well, they're going to have a bye. They might have one or two. They might have the 2 seed. Now you're just wondering if they're going to get into playoffs. I mean, it's been a Jekyll and Hyde year.
Right, yeah.
And I think the schedule's been, I don't want to say easy, but they could be in probably better position than what they are right now, given what the schedule's been. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they should win this weekend, and Cincinnati, that puts you at what, 9?
9, 7 and 1. No. 9, 6 and 1.
Yeah, I mean, you would think it's going to be enough. Baltimore, they've still got San Diego and Kansas City, which I don't think, I'll be surprised if they win either one of those games.
Right, yeah.
But we got to beat Oakland and Cincy, and then I think we got to have a split with New England and New Orleans, just to be safe.
Right, yeah.
That gives you 10 wins. I mean, that's pretty much a lock at that point. But I don't know. It just seems like it's even, it feels like they've underachieved this year, given the record. But, a lot can happen in the playoffs, but I've not seen enough to say that they're Super Bowl worthy. I just, now that could change in the next 4 weeks, but they're just not consistent enough.
Right. Unfortunately, something major would have to change for, like, our opinions to think they were Super Bowl worthy. Like, I thought they were pretty good. I was like, okay, we could make a run in the playoffs. Maybe, get to the AFC Championship.
They could still do that.
Right.
But, man, I mean, San Diego, they're really impressive. It wouldn't surprise me if maybe they won the West and maybe made the Super Bowl. I mean, everybody's talking about Kansas City, but they're good.
Right. Kansas City's lost 2 games, correct?
Well, I'm saying San Diego. I'm sorry, L.A.
No, I knew you meant, though. But in terms of, but I don't think they'll win the division.
No, I mean, it looks like mathematically Kansas City's ahead, but you could put those two up together and they would be, it would be a paper thin difference.
I think it helps because San Diego's defense, even though I think the final score was like 33-31, their defense is pretty good.
Yeah, and they had a lot of injuries too. So, they got a lot of depth there, which will pay off, especially in the postseason.
Right. Yeah.
So, New England's New England. You know, they're not. I don't know that they're as good as what they have been, but
Right.
I don't know that they necessarily have to be. And then you got these two teams out in the West, the South. It's pretty much a jumbled mess. And then you got us in the North. Maybe Baltimore sneaks around and gets in. I don't really see that happening, but it looks like a 4-horse race with, you know, us, New England, as it has been most years, and then you've got Kansas City and the Chargers.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Houston's hot. I guess that's
Right.
they're kind of quiet. They've been quiet because they're kind of off the radar a little bit, but
They're pretty good. Yeah. I think they're.
it's going to be it's going to be another tough year to get through. A lot of good teams.
Right. Yeah.
I picked up Jalen Samuels in my money league.
Oh, there you go.
I got in. I won last weekend. I finished at 6-7, and I got the last seed.
There you go.
And I struggled. I traded Amari Kittle and Lamar Miller. I started out like 2-6, and I had to make a move, and now that looks awfully bad. But I recovered enough to get in the postseason. So I picked up Samuels. I got him off waivers, and hopefully he has a big week.
No, I got you. How do you like the Mountaineers versus Syracuse on whatever date that is?
I really don't know, man. I'm so disgusted with everything. I mean, you've seen me complain about it. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know how anybody could be enthusiastic about what's going on.
I'm not saying that necessarily. I just think, like, are you going to be shocked if we struggle?
No. I don't know that we'll want to be there.
Right.
You know, who's going to play, who's not going to play. That's a big question. But there's just not much incentive there. I mean, Syracuse was a little bit better this year, but that's not a team really anybody cares about playing. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. I think last year they were almost a tad. Record-wise, I don't know what the difference is. But last year's defense for Syracuse was pretty good because I'm pretty sure they beat Clemson at home, but Kelly Bryant might have got hurt. That might have been the game he got hurt, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
So this year I thought their defense would be pretty good, but I'm pretty sure Clemson destroyed them, and I'm pretty sure Notre Dame destroyed them. So.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be, we'll have to take advantage of that, hopefully.
A lot of people, picked, and a lot of people, including myself, thought we were going to get the Alamo Bowl, which that was the last grasp of something exciting.
Mm-hmm.
The Washington State matchup with Mike Leach, that was going to be, a big time deal there. A lot of points, a lot of offense, and they decided to go with Iowa State, which, I guess it's about dollars and cents with these bowl games, and I guess they thought Iowa State would bring more people than us, which, given the end of our season, maybe people aren't as excited about going somewhere as had they been if we'd have made the Sugar or something like that.
To me, if you pick us over Iowa State in terms of financial reasons, it doesn't make sense. But maybe I don't know. Maybe there's something I don't know.
I agree with you. It may have just been the simple fact that they beat us, but
Right. I'm sure they're talented, but I don't know if.
Bowl games aren't really required to pick in any particular order unless they're unless you're in the New Year's Six.
Right. Yeah.
Then you have to pick the conference champion or the group of five, the best team out of the group of five, and after that, it's really just up to who the bowls. If they're a lower tier bowl, they can pick whoever they want, really.
No, I got you.
Just gonna talk a little bit about the bowl season. There's not a whole lot there that's really that interesting. I think UCF will beat LSU. That's just an upset I like, and I have a hard time seeing Alabama losing. If you want to carry the conference pride thing, I'd like to see Oklahoma maybe beat them, but I don't think that's going to happen. So
maybe last year I think it was, I don't know, I didn't really believe in UCF, but they beat Auburn, which is very big for them. I think Auburn finished like second. No, that would make no sense. Auburn finished like third in the SEC, maybe, I don't know. But UCF's quarterback got hurt like before the last game or something, and their last game they played, they got killed by Memphis, I'm pretty sure.
Well, they came back to win that game.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
It looked like they were going to lose, and I had actually thought they had lost, and I had checked later and saw they'd come back and won, which was kind of impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But
So that,
LSU seems like one of those teams that's kind of they're good, but they kind of sleepwalk through the year, and their coaching kind of leaves them a little vulnerable. So I think UCF will probably be looking to knock off another SEC team this year.
No, I gotcha. As far as the college football playoff, I feel like this year's, rather than last year, maybe like it'll be the most competitive between the first round of the playoffs, rather than last year's. Usually one team would dominate, or the last few years. I think Clemson and Alabama are the best two teams, so I think they should win. And then I don't know how good Clemson is, though.
That's what it's been the last 3 or 4 years.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It'd just be nice to have something different.
Right? Yeah. I think Oklahoma could maybe beat Alabama if it did turn into a shootout, but that's it.
Right.
If it was any type of defense, I feel like Alabama's defense is probably loaded with first round picks, probably, or at least potential professional football players and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but real quick, who do you think is going to win the Heisman?
There's been a lot of momentum for Murray here lately.
Mm-hmm.
I think you almost have to. I don't know. Me personally, I think it's going to be Murray, just because without him, I don't think Oklahoma is where they are.
Okay.
Bama, Hurts came in and won the game against Georgia, which showed that I guess they're a better group outside of Tua.
No, I understand. No, that's a big point. I think that a lot of people are probably saying
their quarterbacks in years past haven't really even been in the conversation.
Right.
When it comes to the Heisman, that's who I think should win. I don't know who's actually going to.
Right. Yeah.
I guess Tua is probably the popular choice, but it seems like Murray's picked up some momentum here.
I agree.
In the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm. I think the point you brought up in terms of I don't know but for Alabama, at least this last 2 years or last 3 years, Hurts was the guy, and then he got benched for Tua last year's national championship after halftime. But Tua went down this year, and Hurts came back in, and they still won. To your point you made, 2 or 3 minutes ago, if you take Kyler Murray out of Oklahoma, they're probably not undefeated. They're probably not dominating teams. Who's ever replacing them is not going to play as good as he's playing. So I think that's a huge factor. But I just don't understand the voting. I don't know if a majority of the people do wait till last Sunday or whatever it was to send their votes, or people voted early. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I think people tend to wait till the last weekend.
So hopefully,
people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I hear people saying, "Why didn't Greer get invited?" I mean, that's just blasphemous for people to even ask why. I mean, we finished 8-3. That's why.
I don't understand what comes along with the recognition of being invited, because if you're not going to win, why? He was just going to sit there,
yeah.
It's coming down.
And, it's even like the kid from Ohio State. I mean, yeah, they lose one game, but he's
two,
not really.
Excuse me, one. It was Purdue, and I thought there was another one, but it's just Purdue.
He's not even really in the discussion. He's just there because he's from Ohio State, basically.
I think he did beat a Big Ten record with touchdowns.
Yeah,
passing touchdowns.
He's not going to win it.
Right. Yeah, because his numbers, besides touchdowns, the rest of it is a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah.
But hopefully around the same time next week, and then does that sound good?
Yeah, man. Let's beat the Raiders and keep this train rolling.
There we go. Thanks, man.
See ya.
Bye. But I'd like to thank everyone for listening to this week's podcast of Benjamin's Dream and the Dreamers, podcast number 17. We also have a YouTube page called Benjamin's Dream. Subscribe to that. We have a Facebook page, Benjamin's Dream, and our Twitter and Instagram is @MyDreamJersey. Like us and follow us on both of those. Also, check out the website, mydreamjersey.com. Go to the top picks tab and find the sales on your favorite sports teams. Check out the merchandise page. You can buy some of our t-shirts. Thanks, everyone, for listening.